everybody. Today we're going to be doing a get ready with me while I talk about book recommendations. So this will be fun. Well, I guess I'll tell you guys about my makeup as well as books. So first, I use the Shiseido eyelash curler, and I am excessive and I curl my lashes 3 times on each eye, and I just kind of do that and then take it again. Next eye. Fun, right? Super cool. But anyways, let's talk about books. So in terms of literature, God, I'm off to a great start. I'm already sounding super pretentious. In terms of books, I really like classic literature. Yeah, right now I'm reading Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. It's really great. I'm honestly only on the 2nd chapter because I just got this book 2 days ago. So far, I really like it. I'll probably update on how much I genuinely liked it once I finish it. But in terms of past books that I read, I'm gonna be completely honest, I haven't done a great job with finishing the books that I've been starting recently, which has always been a bad habit of mine, but I've gotten better at it recently, and by recently I mean within the past 2 years. Let's see, what have I started? I started reading First Person Singular by Murakami. I really like it. I believe I'm on the 3rd short story. I don't remember it too much because I'm not gonna lie, I started reading that a few months ago and I read a few more pages a few days ago and I haven't picked it up since. And let's see what else. I also started reading, I think it's called A Portrait of Dorian Gray. For some reason, I always mix up the word portrait and picture in my head. But I started reading Oscar Wilde, and I love that book so much. I feel like it's just so introspective and very, I don't want to say poetic, but in its way, I'd say so. I honestly think it's so just beautifully written, and it's just so captivating. Genuinely, it's one of those books where it almost just, it's able to hook your brain in a way where you read it and you just don't want to stop. And I've only ever experienced that with 2 other books, which was The Catcher in the Rye and Kafka in the Shore, again Murakami. But I really do love that book. I genuinely think the concept of hedonism is so interesting. And I feel like as people, we're very prone to hedonistic tendencies. But I also believe that people are capable of being altruistic in the same breath. So I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury mascara. So I think it's very beautiful to see the overindulgence in one as opposed to the other. My hair is wet. I just washed it a little bit ago and I just did my curl routine, so that's why it looks like that. Guys, I know it looks crazy because I have mascara smudged all over my eyelid, but I promise it's not gonna look crazy once I'm done. You guys are gonna be like, oh my gosh, like guys, we have to stick it out. Trust the process, please trust the process. Guys, anyways, okay, ignore the eyelids, but now I'm gonna move on to eyebrows because I usually give the coats a few minutes, I give it a minute or so to sort of dry down before I do another coat, otherwise it just looks globby and gross. But now I'm gonna do my eyebrows. I only use an eyebrow gel. I use the Hourglass Dark Brunette eyebrow gel. I love it. This is so great. I used to use the NYX brow pencil and the Clear Kosas gel, which are honestly really great, but I feel like this gives me a much more natural look because, not gonna lie, I fell victim to the 2016 Anastasia Beverly Hills brow dip epidemic and my brows were looking crazy. Okay guys, let's move on to my base and also talk about another book. So I'm going to be using the Hourglass Skin Tint. This is in the shade number 3. And this is just what I use as my base. I'm not doing SPF today because I'm not going to be going outside. So it doesn't really matter. But I'd say another book that I've really thoroughly enjoyed is definitely Kafka on the Shore by Murakami. I had to read it for my global lit class that I took like 2 semesters ago, I think it was. And genuinely, I loved that class so much because I'm one of those people where it's like during the school year, I have such a hard time reading just for fun, solely because of the fact that I'm just so caught up with homework and I have to read for school that I don't really have the energy to do it for fun because I'm literally doing it for work. So I kind of just forget about it, and then it's really only something I pick up legitimately during summer break. And I'm like, I don't want to wait 9 months just to be able to do something that I genuinely like doing. So I picked up a lit class because I knew the only way I would genuinely read books for leisure are if I was mandated to do it by a freaking course. So I did that, and I think the first or second book, no, it was the first book. The first book that we read was Kafka on the Shore. I fell in love with that book. Guys, you guys do not understand. It's genuinely, I'd say, my favorite book of all time. I love that book so freaking much. Oh, and I'm using the Makeup Forever palette. This is the Basic Essentials palette, I think it's called. I forget, not gonna lie. And I use this Fenty Beauty blending brush too, and I mix these 2 colors. This is the 2 lightest ones. I take more of this one just to match it to my skin tone. See, like that. Hey, that's shade match though. Anyways, guys, and I just use my beauty blender to blend this out. But yeah, no, I love that book so much. Just the concepts in it were genuinely so captivating to me, especially the concept of empty people. I think that's what he referred to it as. The concept of people who blindly follow certain principles without actually critically thinking about what it is that they're doing. And I think it genuinely speaks so much, especially to government systems. Oh, sorry guys, I was just looking at an email that I got. But I'm trying to word this in a way that makes sense. I feel like it genuinely speaks so much to political climates as well as blind patriotism, solely because of the fact I think it's very important for us to be aware of the media that we consume in terms of accepting it as true and making sure that we're fact-checking things. And of course, no one's perfect by any means, but it's always important to receive accurate information, as well as to be cognizant of whether or not things are being censored or not, because that also plays a huge part in the information that we're receiving. And that's why I feel that education is genuinely so important, because nobody can ever take away from you what is in your head. That is why I am so big on reading, because I think it was John Green who recently said that reading fosters empathy, because when you read a book from a first-person perspective, that is genuinely the closest you will ever be to being in somebody else's head. Quite literally, because no matter how well somebody can relay to you what they are experiencing, you will never know truly firsthand how it feels. And when you read a book, or even like if you were to read a diary, for example, like if you were to read Anne Frank's diary, like that is quite, like, it is just such an intimate experience in the sense that you are following along with them as they are writing down their thoughts. And I think there's something so beautiful about that, because it's just so important for us to have an understanding for those around us. And now I'm contouring, so. So then I just, same thing. I'm sure you guys are seeing like where I'm applying it, just the sides of my forehead, of course cheekbones, and then I pull my jawline like this, just so when I contour it looks super defined. And that's it for this palette. And it's not blended yet perfectly because that's the contour that I use, and then for bronzer I use a cream bronzer. This is the Chanel foundation blender brush. This is the Chanel foundation blender number 102. So then I just swirl this around in the Chanel cream bronzer. This is shade 395, and then I just do I only do my cheeks and my forehead for that. Guys, this looks insane, but I swear it's gonna look good. Trust. Guys, if this looks patchy because I didn't blend it in time, I'm actually gonna cry. No, I'm not. Never mind. I lied. Guys, I lied. I lied. Okay. So now let's blend my nose out. Okay guys, so now for blush, I use like 3 different blushes, but this is Sprinkle, I think. Sprinkle by Rhode. I love this so much. I apply it straight to my cheek. I know a lot of people, they just kind of put it on a brush. I don't do that. I do this, and then I blend it out with a beauty blender. So then I mixed 2 more blushes. I mixed the Charlotte Tilbury High Blush, and this is in Pinkasm. I just do a little bit. I don't do a whole lot of this one. Hey Siri, stop. Sorry guys. Okay. Anyways, guys, literally the Giovanni's room is right here because I was legitimately reading it last night before I went to bed. So then I use the Beauty Light Wand. This is the Easy Highlighter, and this is in the shade Pillow Talk. I do a lot more of this one just because I like a really pearly highlighter. I don't know why, I just do. You guys know that one Kardashian sound where, like, I think it was Chloe. No, it was like Courtney, I think, where she was like, don't you think your eyes are a little too smoky for every day? And then Chris was like, I'm going through a phase. Is that okay with you? That's how I feel about my ultra, like, glowy blush. Okay, guys, guess what brand concealer I use? Hourglass, of course. If you guessed Hourglass, you got it right. That's the only fact I used. I was just raving about Hourglass like 10 minutes ago. Okay, so then I let that sit. Okay guys, I just cleaned off the mascara from my eyelids. So while I'm letting my face dry, I'm going to do my eye makeup. Because I like to let my concealer sit a little bit, let it marinate, let it season my under eyes. Yeah, so I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury pressed powder to set my eyes because for some reason my eyelids are super naturally greasy. Not to set my eyes, to prime my eyes. I use the powder as a primer because my eyelids are super greasy, and it makes me mad because if I wear eyeshadow, it all ends up being one shade by the end of the night, so that's always great. And I'm using this really old Dior palette, and when I say really old, I mean I've had this probably since I was like 17. Yeah, I've had this since I was like 17. and I'm 21 now, so. Let me not gatekeep and tell you guys what shades I use. I honestly get really confused with the back part of the palettes because sometimes they're reversed and it throws me off. And especially when it's a palette like this where the colors are sort of in a similar shade range, I'm like, what? I use this color and then I use this color after, and I only apply it on my crease. And then I use the highlighter on my inner corner, so I'm just gonna keep that open right there. So for eyeliner, because I love a cat eye, I literally never do my makeup without a cat eye. I use the Chanel eyeliner pen in the shade Noir number 10. This is the one where it comes with a cartridge. You have to refill and stuff. This is legitimately the best eyeliner I've used in my entire life. Nothing else holds a candle to this. Another book that I really loved is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I really loved that book. I genuinely think it's so beautiful, and how just the concept that childhood and just that it's important for us to stay true to the aspirations that we had when we were young, or, you know, just like, I feel like it places so much emphasis on the innocence of childhood and how there's so much more wisdom in that. There's so much more wisdom that can be attributed in that than we typically recognize. I think sometimes we just view youth as purely being juvenile without recognizing that in some ways the world can taint us and hurt us and make us more cynical than need be. And there's a certain beauty in that innocence that deserves to be cherished and that deserves to be preserved, and how it can be useful and how it can serve us even in adulthood. And I think that's such a beautiful concept. And I've been saying that's such a beautiful concept all throughout this video, but I love these books. And I think those are pretty much all of my favorites. I've been trying to come up with a summer reading list. I have Giovanni's Room, and I'm currently trying to finish First Person Singular, as well as a portrait of Dorian Gray. And then I also started Love in the Time of Cholera literally 2 years ago, and I'm only halfway through the book because I keep forgetting about it. Okay, so now I'm just gonna do my inner corner highlighter. This I bought when I was 19 and I fell in love with it. I've legitimately hit pan already because that's how much I love this thing, but you guys are really about to see why. Hold on, let me make sure I have a good application on this, because if you don't apply it nicely, it can look kind of patchy. I really like a black waterline, so I just use this random cheap e.l.f. eyeliner. It's the No Budge retractable eyeliner. I actually really like this. I think this is like $3 too, so really not even that bad. So then afterwards I take this lash glue, believe it or not, believe it or not, believe it or not. I use these little baby lashes. I just buy full-size lashes and I cut them up because I feel like they look better than the clusters, because the clusters don't show up on my eye. So I have to buy dramatic lashes and just cut the very tip off, and then I do this, and I just put it at the very end of my eye because I feel like it makes my eyes look even more like feline-like, and I like that look a lot. I'm like running out of lash glue. Cute. Okay, now let's do our lip liner, guys. I keep my lip liners in my wallet, which is whatever, who even cares? Who cares? I use the Rhode lip contours for my everyday lip liner because, not going to lie, I feel like, girl, where's Twist? I have 3 of them. I have Lean, Twist, and Lunge. Okay, so I use Twist. And I use Lunge as sort of like the inner corner. I just like these because they're super natural and they're not too bold. And then I really don't use the silicone and I feel like it just removes the product. And I don't like that. But yeah. I just grab anything from, I don't know what lip gloss I want to do today. Guys, should I do a lip oil today? I don't know what I'm feeling. Okay, I might do a lip oil. Okay, I'm gonna take the Dior lip oil. This is the shade Mahogany. I haven't used this in God knows how long, but I love it. Okay, the finished makeup look, guys. The snow fairy in the back, lol. But I just want to say thank you so much for tuning into my little segment. I don't really know what else to call it, but thank you guys so much for watching, and please tune in for next month's episode of Through Their Eyes. Remember, we go live on the second Monday of every month, and I will keep the link down below, and of course our episodes are also uploaded onto YouTube, so feel free to check them out. Thank you guys so much. Bye!